I believe everything happens for a good reason. And if you're struggling and suffering through a tragedy right now, my heart goes out to you. Failure and tragedy impacts us all differently, but at the end of the day, it does impact us, impacts us all. And I think there's a reason for that. I want to explore that in this video today, specifically around the lesser known gifts that are coming out of the pandemic. So please watch till the end of this video, and if you feel called to share this video, please do. Really quickly, I'm going to jump right into some of the obvious things that we've noticed throughout the pandemic that are positive. Reduced carbon emissions, more people spending time with their friends and family, connecting, even if it's, over the phone or video calls, and reduced pollution and clear waterways. There's some really cool things that have shifted from everybody kind of putting a pause on working and being in the rat race, which is really, really cool. So those are some really nice silver linings, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about some of the deeper things that each and every one of us is being not just given the opportunity, but kind of pressured into looking at, which is our own shadow and our own unconscious patterns in relation to the way that we live our lives, the way that we relate to money and exchange and our relationships and our work. The things that you're afraid of, or that you hate, or you just don't want to look at, will not go away until it teaches you what you need to know. The thing is, most people don't know what they need or what is actually required in order to get what they want. Take, for example, Chris, who wanted to have a beautiful, loving relationship. And in order for her to be able to have this loving relationship, she had to know that she is worthy of that love. And like Chris, a very common way that people learn to love themselves and to have loving relationships is to grow up with parents that don't always do a great job of loving you. And it forces you to go inside and do this deep healing, to give yourself the love and the respect that you want and deserve, and that you actually are at your core, so that you can have that and you can get into a relationship and share that with somebody, and nobody could ever take it from you. And when you respect yourself that much, how do you think others will respect you? People treat us the way we treat ourselves. I know this one very well. You see, I used to think that my only worth was what I could do for my partners. So I learned this growing up with trying to make my mom happy, and we moved all the time. Every 6 months we moved, and I always wanted to make friends, and I thought, well, what can I do to make them want to be my friend? This made me focused on the external and on other people's needs, and not actually taking care of myself and what I wanted and what I needed. It was a way to protect myself and to not feel rejected if I didn't even acknowledge my own needs. Of all the issues that I have helped people with over the years, anxiety, heartbreak, money issues, gut issues, Lyme's disease, IBS, like all these different things, every single person has found the gift in their pain. Car accidents, illness, even a virus, as a way of waking us up to who we really are. And this is your unique life. You came to learn certain things for yourself. COVID and the pandemic has created so much pressure that it's forcing us to go inside to look at these unhealed aspects of ourselves that have been in most cases passed on for generations. It's easy to forget, but we have some very recent traumatic history. You don't have to look very far. wars and genocide, environmental stress, and all of these things have created trauma. And it's passed, if it's not healed, it's passed on throughout every generation. And it's accumulated a little bit. And trauma that's unaddressed for too long ends up manifesting as some form of dis-ease in the body. This is the problem the reason for so many gut issues that people are struggling with, and allergies and sensitivities. I can already tell that this is going to be a series because I have so many stories that I want to share with you. And I also want to hear your stories. So please share your stories in the comments. I love reading your comments. I love reading your stories, especially if you have a different perspective. What I love about this community is everybody is so open-minded and kind and generous in your interpretations, and I love to hear different perspectives. So you're welcome here. And if you share something and if you give me permission, I might share it in another video in the future, because we can learn so much by sharing our stories with each other. One of the patterns I want to look at that I have seen is the most common has to do with your relationship to work and productivity. This is one of the main ones that I've heard from most of my clients. And my friend and client Erin got COVID. This was like last year. And she was flat out on the couch for like a week, couldn't really do a whole lot. And she started to kind of feel better, and she thought, okay, I'm going to get back to work. So she has her own business, and she didn't really have like a whole team supporting her or anything. And so she felt like she really needed to get back to her business. Like it was going to crumble if she didn't get back to it. And so as soon as she went back on like the following Monday to start working, she started getting these headaches, and then she got sick again. So she was flattened back on the couch, feeling sick again. This happened about 2 or 3 times. And this was now stretched out over 3 weeks, that she wasn't really able to get anything done. And she also wasn't really healing. And one day she finally surrendered and became acutely aware of her pattern of needing to work hard to feel worthy, of having to always earn everything she made. Otherwise, she felt guilty, like she didn't really deserve the money that she made. As a little girl, her mom was kind of cruel to her. She was constantly comparing her to her sister. And her dad, who wasn't really around very often, you know, they did have this one thing that they would do every month that was really, really special, just the two of them going for ice cream. However, that only happened a handful of times in her entire childhood, because her dad required her to get straight A's in order for them to have their special day together. Erin spent her entire life believing that her only value was to work hard and produce results. She was so used to overworking and staying busy as a way to cover up this feeling of inadequacy that she had, at the expense of abandoning herself every single day. Intellectually, she knew of her tendency to overwork, but it wasn't until she was flat out for almost 2 months that it required her to make changes in her life. The pressure was so much. It was like increasing until she finally did something about it. Now, we don't have to learn this way, but some of us have to hit an even shittier rock bottom before we're willing to actually make the changes that we need to. So I helped her to see her inherent value. We reprogrammed her subconscious mind and rewired her nervous system to get on board too. She started to realize that there was some things in her business she didn't really need to do. Just flat out able to just totally let go of some tasks. Then there were some things that she delegated. She hired an assistant, and she started to really prioritize putting her self-care first. This is a permanent shift that has given her more time to actually enjoy her life and spend more time with her kids too. Think of the ripple effect. Like, she's breaking this cycle. Now her children can learn from her about self-care and have a model of what it means to put yourself and your needs first before giving to somebody else, and to actually value yourself, your inherent value, and not tie it into some external accomplishment or some kind of external validation. That has a huge ripple effect. So if you got COVID, I want to know in the comments, is there something that you learned? Did you learn a lesson? Something that you realized, even if you didn't get COVID, something throughout the pandemic that has caused you to learn something? We can no longer blame the government or big pharma or the vaccine or your lack of money or your parents. That doesn't work anymore. We live in a consciousness now that is forcing you to look at your own shit. Nothing will change until we are all looking at our own shit, and you have to go inside for that. And you can do that intentionally, or you can wait for things to get shitty until you're forced to look at it. It's your option. If something triggers you, look inside. A few years ago, it was so much easier to avoid these kinds of things. But we're all being faced with this. You gotta go inside and see, where do you feel shame? Where are you holding on to guilt? What are you afraid of? Can you shed some light on these places, these things you so badly do not want to look at, the things you hate about life, about yourself, about other people, whatever it is? Because going inside to heal these things, in my opinion, is the only thing that's going to help this planet shift. If we want things to shift on this planet, we have to shift within ourselves. The state of the world right now is the collective unconscious coming up to the surface. If you want to flatten the curve, you have to look at the shame and the guilt and the fears that you've been hiding from. I can help you, but ultimately you have to be willing to go there and willing to look at the things that you're afraid of, at least the things you don't like in the world, the things that you think are problems out there, or the things you don't like about yourself. This is a very good place to start. Because if you ask yourself this question, what do I don't like? What do I hate about the world? What am I afraid of? Any of those questions. And then you go inside to contemplate. What you discover will lead to a very profound realization. I have other videos on this channel about how to go into and discover your shadowy, unconscious patterns that have been hiding and how to shift them. So I'll put some links in the description below if you want to watch those. But ultimately, the result of identifying things you don't like and then taking them inside is that it will reveal to you that the way you've been living your life is basically a collection of these ideals and beliefs and patterns and opinions that have little to no resemblance to the being that you actually are. And this is incredibly liberating because you don't have to do a whole lot of action to make a shift. The change in perception is what will set you free. In order to cultivate your personal power, you have to get to know yourself. Know your strengths and your shadows, your attachments and your patterns, your inner child, your higher self, your dominance, your submission. We cannot truly be free if we are doing all that we can to keep a part of us hidden. Where are you keeping yourself contained? Where in your life are you playing small, holding back, and not contributing to a beautiful story? Where in your life are you disconnected from your true self, disconnected from your true nature? Because when enough of us are not in harmony with our nature, well, nature creates a virus. Even if you think it's man-made, man is still a part of nature. It's all nature. The takeaway is fixing outer conditions is not going to make what's happening on the inside okay. And things are not going to change until we go inside, delete the old shitty stories, wake up to who we truly are and the power that we have to write a beautiful story for ourselves and each other. And when you come to know your soul, to know your true nature, are so powerful. My name is Soul, and I'm on a mission to open the hearts of millions, beginning by weaving a beautiful story. And if you'd like to join me, come to thelivingnarrative.com. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it, hit subscribe, and share it, because I think this is truly one of the most important things that we can all learn and share with each other. Thanks so much for watching.